What is going on, my friends? Lauren Sisler here with AL.com. Happy Monday to all of you and happy draft week. The 2021 NFL draft is upon us, and Michael Casagrande is going to break that down with our SEC Insider Edition, brought to you by Milo's, home of the wonderful cheeseburger that I love with that special sauce. And then, you get some French fries, and there's lots of special sauce. Who doesn't love some special sauce? That's my plug for Milo's, because we love Milo's and we love you, Michael. So before we get this thing going off the rails, because that's usually what happens when you and I get together on SEC Insider, let's get right down to it. Big day coming up Thursday for the Alabama Crimson Tide, as well. It's possible that they could have or break the record of most guys going in the first round. 6 would tie it, 7 would break it. What are your thoughts? You think it's possible that they break it, or you think they're going to break even?
It's possible.
Very possible. It's possible. Anything's possible, right? Okay, so take me through that. So first round of the guys that could potentially go, who do you think that sort of maybe dark horse guy? And I say dark horse because it's not really a dark horse when, they're floating on that first and second line. But who would you say could swing in there and potentially break that record for Alabama?
As the last guy picked in the first round, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that one.
I know. It's a good question, right? Thank you.
Yeah, you threw me off. Yeah. All that preparation, now we throw me a curveball. He could be the last guy picked. Landon Dickerson, maybe. It could be an Alex Leatherwood. Who could be the 7th guy picked in the first round for Alabama? That's a good question, Lauren. This is why you're so good at what you do.
Thank you. So, okay, of the guys, we'll just go down the list. We got Mac Jones, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, Patrick Surtain, Jalen Waddle, Alex Leatherwood, Dylan Moses, Christian Barmore, Deontay Brown, Landon Dickerson, of the primary guys that are expected to get drafted. So with that being said, Mac Jones, obviously the big question, not if he's going to go in the first round, it's when. And there's a lot of expectation that he could potentially go as high as number 3 overall in the draft. Of course, as we talked about before we jump on here, it's all speculating, and it's coming from a million different angles. But I want to get your thoughts. What are your thoughts on where Mac Jones could potentially end up? And is he the first quarterback off the board?
No, he will not be the first quarterback off the board. I'm pretty sure Trevor Lawrence will be the first pick overall. So I think he won't be the first overall quarterback. It's a good question. It's one of those things where these draft week, there's all the speculation. There's all these different possibilities for where he might go. He's been a lot of the mock drafts have had him at number 3 with the 49ers for a while since that trade. So, it's one of those things where you truly can't trust anything until you tune in Thursday night and you see what they're doing. There's always a lot of maneuvering going on this week of the draft. So, it's a quarterback heavy class. There are some great ones. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, Trey Lance from North Dakota State, a guy that obviously wasn't D1 prospect coming out of high school, but it's a great player at the FCS level. Justin Fields from Ohio State, saw him in the championship game. And the BYU kid, Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities, potentials. There's a variety of different kinds of quarterbacks. I think Mac Jones is different from the rest of the field in these first flight of the quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see, what San Francisco does. I don't think he'll slip too far. I can't see him slipping out of the first round with the way the interest seems to be on him from other teams if he were to slip. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, it's interesting because McCarr here says Mac to anywhere but SF. That's his thought. He says go anywhere but San Fran. Maybe he just doesn't like San Fran too much. So, okay. With that being said, when you see, I guess this class, we look at Mac Jones. Obviously, he's likely to go off the board first of the 2021 Alabama NFL draft prospects. Who do you think is close on his heels? What 2 or 3 guys are you looking at to potentially go top 10, top 15?
There's an interesting combination of guys, and it can go in any order. It seems like there's obviously Patrick Surtain is an interesting cornerback, probably the best cornerback in this draft. So that's always a money position that a lot of people are looking for. And then you have the 2 receivers and Waddle and Devontae Smith, and you have the whole discussion about Devontae Smith's weight. 166 pounds, which, is enviable for me. I remember those days. But that's not enough. It's the opposite problem for him. It's not enough. It's probably for being 6 feet tall. Usually some of these guys with the lower weight, they're 5'8", 5'9". They're kind of that smaller receiver types. But he's, obviously he's tall and he's taller and skinnier. So it's a lot of debate about what that means, because there aren't many comparable players in the NFL for that height and weight combination. So it's going to be interesting to see the debate between him, who's better, him or Waddle. It's a good, interesting discussion. You have Jamar Chase. He didn't play last season for LSU, but he seems to be the top receiver that most people are ranking. So there's a strong quarterback class. It's a very strong receiver class as well. So the skill position, the players that, it's one of those drafts that people are going to want to watch. There isn't that left tackle #1 overall pick. These are all high, skill position players that are household names already that people are going to want to see. So it's going to be an interesting draft in that sense.
Yeah, no doubt. And lastly, I just want to kind of get your thoughts on Najee Harris. He was someone that, early in his career, there was a lot of frustration from him, just not feeling like he was getting enough playing time. And then obviously those last 2 years, he really came on strong, had a really strong 2020 season. And now he is the highlight of our Road to the Pros series that Wes Signer, our colleague at AL.com, has put together. That's kind of become his staple series, working with these guys. And Najee and his mom, Tiana, both agreed to doing this series with us. And it's been a lot of fun to watch. And Michael, I don't know if you've gotten to watch any of them, but just kind of getting to know Najee off the field. And, I guess not a lot of surprises there, as this is sort of the Najee personality, but it's just been fun kind of getting to know him and just the road that in the journey that he's had to get to this point. What are your overall thoughts on Najee and expectations for where he could potentially go and really the success that he can have at the next level?
Yeah, no, I was actually involved in the process of helping filming the interview process in Dallas last month. So,
right, yep, okay. So give us some insight what that was like.
I've said it's the best interview I've ever been a part of, and it's not even close. We were sitting there for 2 hours and 15 minutes. No breaks, really. There was maybe a short break, but it was fascinating. Everything he said was interesting. He was, it wasn't as polished. It was real. It was honest. It was real. It wasn't the kind of thing where we're standing at a podium where handlers are telling him what to say. It was very real and honest. And I appreciated so much of what he said, because I think he really spoke to what the experience of being a high-end player, an Alabama football player, running back, star player, what it was like off the field, and the challenges that people don't see watching on Saturday afternoons. So I think it was fascinating. I wish we could just put the whole interview out from start to finish. I think people have really taken to this series. The 3rd episode just came out. Just watched it before it came out. It was another outstanding job by Wes editing it. Got Marshawn Lynch on Zoom. I laughed out loud at least 2 or 3 times in this episode alone. So it's worth watching. And Najee's he's a first round, seems to be for the most part a first round guy, maybe in the later half of the first round, just the way running backs have gone in these recent years. But he's just a fascinating mixture of size, speed, athleticism, works, almost too hard at times. I think he's an interesting player, the one that, an interesting person, interesting player that I'd want to keep up with as they move forward in the NFL. Yeah, no doubt about it. So an exciting night coming up, the NFL draft getting underway on Thursday. A much awaited NFL draft. Things a little bit different this year, which is pretty cool, obviously, with last year, the pandemic kind of taking the headlines. So it'll be interesting to see where these guys end up. And again, you can watch that series Road to the Pros, episode number 3, of course, 1 and 2 also out. Episode 3 just came out today. Fascinating series, as you mentioned. And it's really cool just to see a different side of these guys. So you can check that out. Facebook as well as YouTube. You'll be able to find those episodes there. And Michael, we appreciate you as always. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And all of you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you to our sponsors, Milo's. Download the mobile app for a free original cheeseburger after your first order. Limited time only.
So get out there, do it, download the app. No lines, no waiting. You get the best of both worlds.